Every great Scratch project has one thing in common. They're all made by me. They all have great buttons. So how do you make your buttons look like Exhibit A here? I mean, just look at its curves, its color complexity, the way it just wants to be clicked. Now compare that with Exhibit B. Put them side by side and what's the first thing you notice? That's right, the rounded corners. Start by drawing a regular rectangle, plain and simple. Make a point on each of the vertices. Delete these points. And just like that, your new button is radiating feminine energy. Now I know what you're thinking. Why'd you make the button blue? That leads me straight on to my second point, which is colours. In the second example, the button's an ugly mix of red and green. We've got to make sure that we stick to the basics of one type of colour and a complementary colour that's lighter or darker. This makes the button look so much more elegant and readable. And although a simple black and white is my personal favourite, you can go for any colour combination you like. The next thing we need to consider is the code. Perhaps the most important part of the button is how it functions around the mouse. We want our buttons to feel polished and perfect, so that every movement the user makes is replicated in the movement of the button. Let's go back to our favourite example, Exhibit A. Here we can see that the code is primarily split into two parts. What happens when the mouse is touching the button, and what happens when the mouse is not. Begin by constructing a basic if-else statement in a forever loop. This allows the button to sense when the mouse is touching it. We want to initialize some sort of size change or visual change in appearance. I did this through changing the size and also changing the brightness. Now we can see some sort of physical effect in action. Notice, however, that the size change feels jumpy. It's also missing the cool little shimmer that you see in other videos. So allow me to show you a particular technique and algorithm for changing the size in a graceful manner. Start by going to operators and sourcing yourself a divided by and a plus operator. From here in the looks category, get a size block. Now, as I do, link the blocks together and divide the size by 3. This initial 100 is the size I want the button to grow to. You can test with any size you want. You're almost there. Duplicate this so that the resting size is slightly less than the main size. Size. Just put a smaller value in there. And look at that, smooth as butter. Now, for you loyal viewers who've been here since day one, you remember my water physics project. Yes, unfortunately, we're going to have to use some trigonometry in here as well. By using a cosine function in our direction block, we can make the object shake back and forth. First value 90 is its original direction. The following numbers are how fast it shakes and the range in which it shakes. Feel free to play around with them, but real quick, this is how we make it. Great, now you have all the tools to assemble the code yourself. By now your button's looking pretty elegant, but there's still a few more things we have to do to maximize its looks to the viewer. If you really want your project to stand out amongst the many Scratch projects, you have to be willing to go that extra mile. In this case, we want to use special fonts that are not in the Scratch directory. We can do this in many ways, but my favorite method is to create a Google drawing in Drive. From here, I'll select a font that I like the look of. Then, I'll type out a few words that I know I'm going to use, like play or replay, or just some letters or numbers, and download it as an SVG. Then, I can import it into my project with all of the beautiful text. Also note that you don't have to use text for your buttons. In fact, a great way to enhance the quality of your buttons is to use a simple image instead. For this, I like to go to a special website called SVG Icons. Link in the description. They have an array of beautiful icons that I always use in my games. we're forgetting something. Sound. To immerse the user in our game, we have to capture all of their senses. This is why it's so important that we use sound for a button click and for a button hover. Okay, not like that though. We want to get our ideal sound effects off the internet, and because Scratch isn't monetizable, there are no copyright laws in place. We can get our sound effects from anywhere we like. That means that there is a plethora of sound effects perfect for every instance. And once you've found a sound effect that you like and have uploaded it to the project, you can add it into the code like this. And so now, you're almost fully equipped to make your own brilliant buttons. But there's still one more detail we're missing: the special effects. Unfortunately for you, I'm gonna save that secret for another video. But don't be down. I mean, just look how far we've come. Now you can make your very own high quality buttons. And hey, maybe one day I'll see your projects on the front page.